We live. We live, baby. The Big Body Music Show. That's what I was practicing. And I gotta come up with. Give me a beat. Big Body Music Show. It's the Big Body Music Show on Music Monday. The Big Body Music Show. Big Body Music Show. Insert sound effects. I'm T-Mill.
And I'm Living Proof.
And we are here at Big Body Music. Music Monday. Ooh, can I speak English? Music Monday. Shout out to Glow. To talk about an upcoming, rising, emerging talent. Young, maybe the youngest, maybe? I won't say the youngest in the city performing, but I'll say the youngest with a catalog. 3 albums, produced, written, recorded by himself. Self-taught, a little bit of guidance here and there, some tips. But he grew up in a community of hip-hop, R&B, rock and roll, dragging this kid around to Low Mill and 5 Points at 3 in the morning, god-awful hours. And growing up in a music community and now a musician and a producer and a songwriter and artist of his own, in his own right, the Mae Jemison High School graduate, the MTSU bound music producer, songwriter, future Grammy, Oscar, Tony, EGOT award-winning producer, my son, Mr. Braden, a.k.a. Living Proof.
Woo, we love you. Yeah.
And he brought the guns out. The gun show.
Just a little bit. Look, college, get my muscles up. But hello, everybody. If you don't know me, I am Braden. I'm 17 years old, and I am pretty much all 100% independent when it comes to music, when it comes to dancing, when it comes to acting. EGOT on the way. I've been writing music for roughly 5 years now. Thanks to Mr. Mario. Shout out Mainland Conservatory.
Shout out Mainland Conservatory. 5 years?
5 years.
Your first, do you remember the first song you recorded?
The first song I recorded was technically, it was technically Winds when I was 9. I be getting those winds that will never hear the light of day.
You be getting those wins. We be getting those wins. Hey,
that's of all.
You see all me, all these money on me. Okay, don't be mad. Don't be sad.
Now, look, 9-year-old me has some bars. I'll just say that.
It was wins, yeah.
But, yeah, that was technically my first song I'd ever recorded. But the first song I wrote when, after being introduced to the Mainland Conservatory music program was, I think, Only One. It was called Only One. And it's on my deluxe for Enzo on Bandcamp. Only $3.99 for the total deluxe album. Go get those tracks.
It made it to the deluxe of your second album?
It made it to the deluxe of my second album.
How did it skip the first album?
I have no idea.
So he's got 2 albums out right now, and the third one is on the way. But
so it skipped past the first one for some reason and made it on its way to the second. And then from there, I just kind of 2021. From there, I just kind of kept writing music, just kept experimenting, using that as a way to, express who I was, what I was going through, because I was a really kind of quiet kid. You could get a few peeps out of me when I really wanted to, and I've always been really expressive in a way. Just there were a lot of things I didn't know how to say or didn't know that I wanted to say, and through that program, I was kind of like, hey, maybe I can, talk about some of this stuff. It doesn't have to be to somebody, but somebody could hear, somebody that, is maybe going through the same thing could be like, hey, I'm going through the same thing too. I
It's
wanted
therapy.
chicken tenders in my, you know, lunch, and I didn't get chicken tenders in my lunch. So now you got a song about chicken tenders in your lunch.
Wait a minute, that was on the album?
That's a deep cut. That won't see the light of day unless
Deep cut.
y'all want that. But yeah, so that's a little bit about my musical background because out of the blue, I'm just like, hey, let's do music, and I did music, so now I'm doing music.
First album, Change. So a lot of those songs you mentioned were songs of things you were going through, things you were expressing, um, a lot of changes, I guess.
This is true.
Yeah. And, but in hindsight, you may not realize this until you get older, or you may realize it now, that you can't get to Enzo and what's the name of the new album?
Ooh.
Temporary Poison?
Coming soon.
Okay, well, whatever the name of the new album is, you can't get to those albums without change.
This is true.
So, where you like it, or where do you rate that album, or your thoughts on that album since?
Solid 4 out of 10. I give it a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
Just being completely honest, I did not know what I was doing. 12-year-old, 13-year-old me was just writing stuff and just making
And
stuff
producing it.
out of the blue. I don't know. I will say I'm glad I made that album because that was kind of the true, like, hey, I really do want to do music. It was that wake up call in a sense, but it's definitely, I'm gonna keep it real with myself. It's very weak vocally, very weak in terms of writing, and that's just me kind of. I guess I'm just kind of dogging on the album. It has its highs. It definitely has its lows, but I don't know. It kind of just put me in a place where I was like, okay, this is what I want to make, and this is what I want to write about. This is what I want my music to sound like. This is how much I want to share. This is how much I don't want to share. So it just kind of set the stage for, okay, I need to go here so I can get here. That way I can end up here.
So here's the thing that you may come to learn is a lot of people's favorite albums is often the artist's first album. And generally what happens is your first album is your most vulnerable album because you don't have anything to lose. You're putting it all out there. You don't know if you're going to make another album. You're just starting out, and so you're not as critically thinking on your first album as you are on your second, third, or fourth album. So you literally just go in and do that. So a lot of your album, if you think about it, on the first album is a lot of your more vulnerable songs, or the songs where you're talking about tough topics, or you're talking about your emotions and things like that. And then the further down the line you get in your albums, you start to become more guarded. So the second album, you're like, ooh, I want to talk about that. So you don't. And then the third album, you're like, I'm definitely not talking about any of that. And then you don't. And then by the time you get to your fourth and fifth album, it becomes your outside perspectives or things about other people. And then people more so fall in love with maybe the first album or maybe the second album. So it becomes that balance of how do you want to keep putting your personal stuff into your albums, or do you want to balance it, or do you want to make them a combination of both?
I'll definitely say that when you explained it, it's definitely like, okay, it makes a lot more sense because, as you said, the first album, and if you've heard the first album, it's definitely just, this is what I'm talking about, this is exactly what I'm talking about, and this is why I'm talking about it. If you listen to Enzo, there's a couple of deep topics on there. There's a couple of sprinkles of personal life. There's definitely some shielding, and then once you listen to the third album, I guess listening to the other two projects, you'll start to realize like, hey, and even I started to realize it. I'm like, I'm sharing a lot without sharing a lot. I learned that I really like to I don't know, shield what I'm talking about in a different topic. So,
Hide the peas in the mashed potatoes, what us old folks call it.
hey, you never know they're there, right? You don't feed your baby just, what they don't really like. You hide it under the sugar, right? Is that how y'all do that?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just here.
It's usually hide it under something. That's why I said peas in the mashed potatoes.
There we go. But the third album, I have this track. Make sure y'all paying attention. I have this track called "In the Know," and it's about already knowing what this person has done and already know what this person is talking about, but wanting them to come forth and say, "Hey, this is what I'm talking about." If any of you guys know me, I'm a very observant person. I love to pay attention to people and really just analyze and like study. I get a lot of inspiration from just people watching. Shout out Tyler Lewis. I love just analyzing because it allows me to see different patterns, and I'm like, hey, okay, this is why this person does this, and this is why this person does this, but also this is why I do this because that person does this. So I don't know. I just love metaphors now instead of talking directly because it allows me to like. You think I'm talking about a tree, but I'm really talking about my fourth grade math teacher. You just never know because I'm, you know, making it seem like I'm talking about the tree. I love it. It also allows me to expand on my writing capabilities because I'm like, okay, how do I say this without saying this while making it about this? Kind of rambling, but yeah.
Shout out to the tree,
Shout
wherever
out to
you
the
may
tree.
be in life now.
Wherever you are.
Did
You
you
might have me on
blow
Facebook.
over? Did you move? Are you still teaching math? You know. So if someone goes back to listen, and if you're looking for his music, go look on whatever favorite. Well, first of all, if you're looking for his music, go directly first. Any artist that you're looking for their music, I can say it. A lot of artists won't say it, but screw Spotify. Go get directly from the artist. Artists that are giving you the music and you can get it directly from them, and they're not getting 0.0000000000000000000 a half a cent. I don't even know if that's a cent at that point, but they're not getting anything. So any artist that you want to discover their music, you can still stream it and not buy it and listen to it. Go to Bandcamp. If you absolutely have to, go onto your DSPs and your Spotify's and Apple Music and titles and all that, you can look for his music at Living Proof. And here's the tricky part, because you also have to put yourself in the fans' perspective and you have to work on this as artists. How easy is it to search for your music? Because all it takes is one search. If most fans cannot find your music on the first search, they're done. They're not spending 2 minutes. They're not spending a minute looking for your music. It's 30 seconds. If I type in LIVINGPROOF and it doesn't pop up, is it 2 words? Is it 1 word? Is it the slashes in the O's or is it not? Or whatever the artist title is, because some of y'all's music is really hard to find because of however you set up your metadata and distribution. So when you're setting up your artist names or your artist titles or your album titles, you need to put in variations of the title because people misspell. People put 2 words together. They create compound words out of words that are singular. Or it is a compound word. And so you have to put in all those different variations of how they could spell it, what they might spell it, and the way it's supposed to be spelled. So that way they can find your music. I don't know if you knew that. But,
Didn't.
yeah. And I only know that because it took me a while to put my music out or to learn why. Because I would do this. I would put my music up and put it on, at the time it was iTunes, and then I would go look for it and then wonder why I'm having trouble looking for it. Okay, well, what is the problem? And I would go and look at my metadata, Google searches, Google ads, and see that, oh, it's only going to search the way that I put it in there. So if I put it in there in different variations, then people can find it really, really quick. So if you type in LIV, and I put in all the livings, all those different things, by the time you type in LIVING, I'm starting to come up and rise through those ranks because people are looking. And if I start putting PR and all that, it comes up a little bit easier. So the second album, Enzo, as you mentioned, it's some personal stuff, but it's also, I think, mature in a sense where it's you're having a different way of looking at it, and not just it's instead of it being a diary, it's more of a let's say change was like therapy, and you're talking to the person. Enzo is kind of you looking in within yourself to say analyze. You become the therapist in a sense, right? And so talk about that album and just some of the songs from Enzo that that you would some of your favorite songs from that album.
So right off the bat, some of my favorites. Gotta go with See Through. Shout out to best friend Nate Rowland, co-writing, co-producing. Dope friend. Definitely would say Heard You Call is up there. Shout out to MB. Imperfect is definitely on there. I find myself listening to that record a couple of times. What else is on there? I Don't Mind. How the Far? Wow. How Far?
How many tracks was on that album?
17.
That's a 17, and how old were you?
How old was I when I put out Enzo? I was
2 years
14, 15 writing it, 16 when I put it out.
Wow.
Guys, I write a lot of music. You'd be surprised. I have a lot of songs in the vault.
So, yeah.
There's some stuff in there. I definitely say those are my favorites. I feel like those songs are where I really started to define what I wanted to write about, what I wanted my beats to sound like. Wow, I just froze right there. But they're definitely the most listenable, and I'm not gonna say Enzo isn't listenable, but a lot of people will hear independent artists or like indie artists. I guess those are the same thing. But people that sound really different from your mainstream artists, and they'll be turned away from it because it doesn't sound the same. Well, sorry to break it to you, not every artist is gonna sound the same.
They shouldn't. And if you sound like another artist, that's a problem.
That's one thing I really had to learn with this album too. I was doing a lot of research around this time, studying a lot of singers, studying a lot of instrumentals. I was listening to lo-fi instrumentals on repeat for the day, R&B instrumentals, hip-hop instrumentals, just really studying during this time and analyzing as one does love to do. And I found myself kind of falling into a trap of, this song kind of sounds like this song. This song kind of sounds like this song. My vocals on this song kind of sound like this song. Didn't somebody write this song before? And it's definitely a little hard, especially with however long music has been around, forever. You start to fall into a trap of, I don't want to write a song that somebody has already wrote. I felt kind of guilty into that with songs like Immature. Still a bop, by the way. Immature, Never Leaves, Keep Pushing in a way, honestly, and Control. I just kind of fell into a trap of, this kind of sounds like that song, and it as an independent artist and somebody that's trying to sound different, it kind of discourages you in a way, but that's where you keep pushing.
It's got to be creative, because here's the thing, going back, so we're all essentially, every artist and every musician is making the same song over and over, or saying the same thing, because it's already been said. No matter how we put it out. However, the creative part and the part that attracts us to listen as fans is how we say it, or maybe the perspective that you take on it, and it could be a different perception on it. So it could be, you hear songs about, the majority of songs you're going to hear about heartbreak are going to come from women, You're going to hear women talking about heartbreak and the pain that they went through, or the disappointment, or they thought it was one thing and it wasn't, or the security and the trust that they gave up. They're going to talk about that. Very rarely are you going to hear it come from a man's perspective. So he made you'll hear songs about a man being sorry he lost her, but not why. And every now and then you'll get a Tank, please don't go come around, where it's like, all right, that's a different perspective. That's an honest perspective, or maybe I deserve. That's the one I was trying to think of. That's a whole completely different perspective of, maybe I deserve for you to cheat on me because I cheated on you, or maybe I deserve this to happen or that to happen. So you're not saying anything that no one else has said, but you have to say it in a different way, and from a different perspective of, putting yourself in the opposite shoes or in the other person's shoes, or a different way of thinking about it. So that's the trick with your production. From Change to Enzo, how do you feel like your production changed?
Well, for one, I stopped using loops. Now,
Nothing wrong with loops.
there's absolutely nothing wrong with loops. I was on TikTok the other day.
'Cause I guarantee you. So here's the thing. Wait a minute. So for the folks because I see a lot of people complaining about, well, it's just loops. I can give you 100,000 loops, and let's see what you come up with. First of all, so don't diminish when you're doing things with loops.
Yeah.
Because think about how long it took you to put those loops together. Are they in the right key? Are they in the right tempo? Do they sound good? Are they mixed right?
Yeah.
Do people want to hear them? Do they make sense? So you can have all the loops in the world. Somebody has to put those together and make sense. Same thing when people were saying with samples, and people were dishing on folks that sample music. I dare you if somebody were to tell you, I'll give you $100,000 if you can make a song with this sample, and some people can't do it. And then they wonder why the people that can do it, it is a art, because you have some people that just use the sample straight as it is. Puffy would loop the sample, it would just be the Ozzy Brothers in the sheets, which is fine. But then you get a Jay Dilla or a Ninth Wonder that takes that same sample and then chops it in certain parts where it's the same sample, but now it's different parts of the sample. And all people care about, does it sound good? Does it make me move? They don't care how you made it. They don't care if you use loops. They don't care if you paid for the loops. They don't care if it's a sample. They just care if I feel it in my heart. I can feel it in my feet. I can feel it in my soul. That's all they care about. They don't care about how you made it. But the musician-wise, so I say that to say, make music. Don't let those limitations of, oh, well, I'm not a real producer, or I use loops, or I use samples, and I'm not. Make music that feels good to you, and that's the first thing. So don't worry about when people are telling you what and how to do it. But for your production, from you decided not to use loops, and where did you start going after Change? How did you change your production after Change?
So, first, I always have to remind myself, Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso was pure loops. That got her. I'm pretty sure she was nominated for a Grammy with that song. Always have to remind myself that. And also regarding samples, Loyalty by Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna, they sampled 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
And they flipped that. I saw the video on how they flipped
It's in
that.
reverse.
Absolute magic, dude. It's incredible. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like loops was always fine. It was definitely very interesting, trying to put together different sounds, because as much as you would think, like, you get this piano melody and then you get these drums and it's like, oh, okay, you hear them individually and then you put them together and it's like, this is a totally different song, because not only does the piano have to match the drums, or the drums have to match the piano, because believe it or not, if you think I'm crazy, that's a different term. It's really difficult in a way to kind of be like, okay, I want to use these sounds, but is it matching what I'm writing? Is it matching what I'm saying? Is it matching how I'm saying it? And is it all just coming together as one? But once I started to, I had always wanted to just, have a sense of originality, something to call like specifically my own. So I started, just training, started working with drums first. I love 808s. 808s are pretty much in every single one of my songs. So I started with that next. I was like, okay, let's find some interesting 808 melodies. Then I started moving on to hi-hats because, believe it or not, that's a pretty difficult thing to get into. You don't want to make too basic of hi-hats, but you don't want something too complex. Y'all, it's a task, okay? Um, but with Enzo, I think um, not using many loops um, really helped me become my own. It secured and put the stamp on the whole. Okay, this is my music. Like I can say that I made this beat. Even if I used a couple loops, I can say that I made this beat. Like this is mine. I own this beat, and I owned that beat.
It's totally, and you reminded me of one of the, with the 808s. You don't like it, but back to back,
Oh
the
my gosh.
it's a sonic that just, and the reason is because, and I would always have you open. I think whenever you would perform and you would do your set, and I would tell you to use that one because one, you have to read the room, and sonically, that song is what people, because people never heard your music. They never, they didn't know who you were or what song you were going to sing or if you were going to rap or dance or what. But that 808, the bells, the intro is something that is, it's catchy in the sense where if you don't know anything else about this person, as soon as that comes on, you're getting their attention because it feels familiar. You know what I mean? And that's why I would always tell you to lead with that song, to start out your set. After that, you can fly the plane, get the plane in the air. Like that's how you get everybody's attention. Once you got their attention, now you can keep it. When you can go anywhere you want to go after that, because now you have their attention. Now it's up to you. You can lose it or you can keep it. But to get it and catch it, their initial reactions, I was like, that's the way in every single time. So, and it's finally like a common thing that everybody loves. Do you remember your first performance
I
on
think
stage?
my first performance with the title "Living Proof" was probably the one music showcase day we did at the school. Um, that wasn't technically a stage, but it was my first performance as Living Proof, I believe.
Yeah, because before you were just going by Braden and low mill. So I think it was concerts on the dock. It may have been.
Oh no, so that was the first one.
Yeah.
The Block Party 2022. That was in August. Yeah, that was my first performance as Living Proof.
Yeah, that was your first. Was it Living Proof? Were you Living Proof at that point?
It might have been because I was performing like 7 songs that night, so I might have already been Living Proof. I just hadn't stamped it, but I
You're younger than me.
knew.
You should remember.
I don't know.
And even before then, I think concerts. Shout out to Matt Bakula and Cricket and Holloway and all the crew over there for concerts in the park, putting that together. A Twist, and I think because you and your brother, y'all performed, and that night or that day or whatever time it was, y'all performed with. It was Ali Shaheed and DJ Shaheed and DJ Supreme. Um, Also, Rated R was performing that day. I believe Dizzy D performed, and yeah. So it was a few people, and I remember all of them looking like these kids know what they doing. Like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't do anything. I just drove them here. They came up with this on their own. Um, and performing wise, I think dancing you started at Low Mill with the ciphers. What do you remember about the ciphers?
I just remember being a 6-year-old kid dragged along by his dad to these events that he probably didn't want to go to and stay until like
I know you didn't want to
2 o'clock in the morning. But the funny thing is, like, as much as I didn't want to go, I was like, you know what? Why not? I don't got nothing better to do. I'm probably just going to lay in bed and play on my DS all day anyway. So I remember just being so in awe every time by the B-boys and the B-girls, especially by Messiah, rest in peace. But he was a huge inspiration for me. Like, gosh, if only y'all knew I was this tall, like this tall, trying to catch up and keep up with these tall adults that just knew how to dance their flipping brains off. I was just amazed, and I had always been in love with dance. I've been dancing since I can remember, and seeing shout out to all the women that dance because they're fire. Because Zendaya, she was another one of my huge inspirations. Of course, you can't dance without Michael Jackson. Blueprint. But just going to those concerts, it allowed me to really just it opened my mind up to a whole new realm of dance. Because before I only seen a couple music videos. I was too young to have a phone, so I couldn't see what was going on in the world. But just going to those ciphers really opened my eyes to, like, you have your regular dancers and you have your b-boys and your b-girls, and that's a whole nother tier of dancing. And then of course, as I grew up, I learned more about dance. But those ciphers really just, like, I was this tall, mind.
And I wish I could find. I still think it's out here somewhere. I don't know where. I should have bookmarked it, and I'm hoping it's not on a hard drive that crashed because I had two of them that crashed. But there is a video. There's a few of them still out there, but the one I'm looking for, in particular, is you, because you got to understand. Like at Low Mill, if you've been in the connector, the big brick area. It's huge, and these ciphers would turn from DJs and hip hop artists performing to a full on dance battle. A full on, dancing, breaking, and dancers from Birmingham, Atlanta, Nashville, Huntsville, all coming down here because that community has always been here, but there was starting to brew a place for them to get it off, and I'm sure they would meet in their own circles and whatnot, but the ciphers were attracting a lot of different creatives. So by them coming out, doing their thing, and you're talking about competing B-girls and B-boys, these are folks that are competing in competitions, foreign and domestic, international, local, and they're here at the cipher because they want to be a part of that energy. There was a creative energy that was happening at these ciphers, and it just drew everyone out like a freaking flame, and little flies and people coming around, moth to a flame. And so, watching your journey from, being a spectator to becoming a participant, is a coming of age story, because there were days where I knew that you guys were just running around and, playing or whatever and being in your own world, versus I'm looking up and I'm going, oh, he's standing in the crowd now. He's watching what's going on. He's paying attention. And I would ask him, hey, get in there and dance. And he would, he's just watching. He's observing. It's like a young samurai just watching, like, let me look at the feet. Let me study. Let me see what they're doing. And this is cipher after cipher after cipher after cipher. He's just watching. And he goes, plays for a little while. Then he comes back. and he's watching and he's paying attention and he's looking, and he's dancing at this time, but he's not getting involved, which also says a lot, because there's some people that they have that ego thing, or it's, ooh, let me show off what I can do, and then you get out there and look like a fool, because that's not what we're doing tonight. We're respect what they're doing, and as a student, and I think once, I don't know when it was, but when you got the feeling, or when you gave yourself the permission to get involved, and everybody's watching, it's the energy, like, how does it feel being, that's a whole different vibe, where it's like you're in the middle, and now all the energy is being thrown to you, to encourage you to dance, and you've got a whole circle of people around you cheering you on, or, giving you the energy that you're giving them through dance. It's a little electric, it's like, it's a whole thing. And the video that I was referring to earlier it's literally just you in the middle of this cipher, and you're dancing your face off, and everyone's cheering you on, and then you have a little competition with Messiah, and then you got a little thing going on with Melissa, and y'all are just vibing off each other, just dancing back and forth, and y'all are talking in a dance language. I don't dance. I don't know how to dance. This is however they talk.
It's a complicated language.
It's just dope to see. So. And when you brought up Messiah, I'm thinking like, man, that was incredible. Just like you said, the energy, the enthusiasm, and so you coming up through that and incorporating that now into your stage performances. So now your stage performance isn't just you rapping. You got dance moves and dance breaks where you put the mic down and start dancing. You have to get you some background dancers or something.
Yeah.
Because you can't just keep dropping the mic on the floor and dancing. Like,
it's old now.
You need a little help, because the Orion Amphitheater stage is pretty big, so. But talk about that, like incorporating dance into your music and into your stage performance and creating a stage performance.
So, just to break that down a little bit by bit, I still remember the first night that I jumped into a dance circle. I, for the life of me, cannot remember what the name of the song is, but I know it goes like, da, 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 da. It's like this old, maybe, it might be an 80s. Somebody knows it out
It's
there.
Planet Rock.
I just remember, like, everybody at that point was just like, because everybody had been watching, and like, they knew that I was, starting to dance, and I really admired the dancers. So it just kind of got to a point that night where everybody was like, all the adults were just like, just join us, like, come be a part of this community. So I remember that night, mind you, it's like close to like 11 p.m. and I'm ready to go home. I'm tired, and at this point, everybody's like, just join the circle, just join the circle. So for some reason, that song just awakened something in me, and I jump in the circle, and I'm just dancing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing some type of move, and I don't know. It was just kind of an amazing feeling to be able to just kind of, be nervous, but be nervous around people that understand, and be nervous around people who know what it's like to transfer that nervous energy into like an amazing performance.
It's called freedom.
It's called freedom. Dancing is so freeing. So, I continue to dance. I continue to do the ciphers. I actually have a video of me dancing to Humble. It's on YouTube somewhere, so I'm going to send that video to you.
Yeah. Please send me that.
But I keep dancing.
We can get that in and get Ben to put that in if we find it in enough time.
It's in there. Yeah, I'll get that. But
you are watching the Big Body Music Show, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the Big Body Music Studios in Huntsville, where if you need to dance, if you need to sing, if you need to just practice your dancing before you step up against this guy, or if you just need a place to perform or a place to produce your own concert, book your studio time for recording, book your time for performing, book your time for your events, book your time to do a podcast. Big Body Music Big Body Music Studio for whether it's podcasting, recording, all of your audio production, your concerts, your artist needs. Get in contact or tag somebody in the link, tag somebody in the show, and get in touch with Big Body Music and tell them that T Mill and Living Proof sent you. So to your your production, and you started learning
how at this point I'm starting to do music, and I'm watching a bunch of this is the point where like all the award shows were just popping off. This is around 2022 to like 2024, and I'm still studying, but this is the point where like the music shows were just popping off, and I'm watching a bunch of live performances, concerts, just kind of really studying what it's like to perform, but also perform. Not only do you have to sing, keep stable vocals, some of these people are rapping, but when you dance, singing and dancing or rapping and dancing is a whole another thing. So here I am learning the choreography. I've got my Wii remote in my hand, in my left hand. I'm singing, I'm learning the choreography, I'm doing the dance breaks. Just really like trying to prepare myself for the moment where it's like, hey, now I'm doing my music, but I've been studying, I've been practicing, so I get to my dance break. Now it's time to go. I'm singing, hitting these high notes, and also keeping you, giving you these clean dance moves. So it just got to a point around 2024 where I really started to take, like giving live shows. Like I really started to take it seriously, because I'm like, some of my favorite performers, of course I mentioned Michael Jackson before, Chloe Bailey, Normani, Josh Levi, Kendrick Lamar. I couldn't go without mentioning Beyonce. One of the greatest performers out there, y'all.
The woman is a machine.
She is, gosh. But I just really started to study and like, jot down. Here I am writing in my notebook like little moments where I'm like, hey, let's put a dance move here. Like let's give the audience a little 1-2 right here. Okay, here I'm gonna stand center stage and give a really big belt, and I'm gonna go back into dancing. Okay, boom. I have an upbeat song, and I didn't do pretty much any dancing. Let's do a mashup. Let's put a dance break in here. This previous year, 2025, I performed at the camp, and I performed.
Shout out to Gonzo Promotions, Cricket and Lenny.
Booyah. And I had recently put out Let Me Be, and my first time performing the song. It's a super upbeat song. If you haven't listened to it, please do. Buy it on Bandcamp. And I'm like, hey, instead of giving little 1-2s every now and then, let's surprise the people with a big dance break as well as a mashup. Because every now and then you have your artists, they'll throw in a reference to their favorite artist or, popular songs, and they'll do a little mashup, and it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it takes live performances to a whole new level.
You're amplifying the production, and it does.
And also, you're listening to your audience not only by mashing up with your favorite songs, but current songs too. Beyonce again did a great job with that Cowboy Carter tour. She put some mashups in there. I was like, just, you have no words once you see her perform. But
so what mashup did you do with Let Me Be?
I mashed up, of course, Let Me Be and Bow Down Beyonce. I actually chopped my vocals and like did some stuttering effects in there. I changed the key a little bit. And it's really interesting because I had been choreographing to that song anyway for a talent show, and I was like, what if I did this choreography to Bow Down to my song Let Me Be? And it was really interesting because I did it, and I'm like, these songs are the same tempo. They're just, I think they're also the same key too.
It is, otherwise it wouldn't, it could have worked, but it wouldn't work. Because there are those times where there are songs that are out there where they're not supposed to work, and they do.
But they do.
So that
it's
happens.
Crazy.
And that's the thing. A lot of y'all, I don't want you to forget what you were going to say, but I want artists to know, when you ask us to come to a show, what are you doing on that stage? Because I got to tell you, if you've been to a few concerts and if you've been to a few shows, not too many of y'all can stand in one place and do your thing. That you better be Fantasia, or you better have some pipes, and you better be playing or something, because you're commanding people's attention. And some of y'all do the least on stage. You just either rapping or you singing over your vocals on the track.
Hello.
And you have a kid that's producing a whole vocal production without the lead vocals in the track, and he's making a whole show track, and he's got dance breaks and mashups, and he's adding these things into the show where the audience may think he's a little older than what he is, or they start to think, well, he can't be local if he's acting like this or he's doing this, because local artists don't do that. No, they do. You just have to find the right ones, and the ones that are going to give you a show and not just take your presence for, to take it for granted. Oh, you're here to see me, so you're gonna take whatever I give you. No. You got to put on a show, do some dancing, That's another reason why I fell in love with Key Lavender, because those kids are going to. It's WWE all over the stage. It's a whole wrestling match. They're gonna be dancing and jumping, and they got costumes. They got sound effects. Like their whole show is a movie, Or you take somebody like a Jay Means that can command the stage with just a microphone. He doesn't need costumes and or dance moves or anything, because what he's saying is he's commanding as an MC. And you're having to listen to what he's saying when he's breaking it down in his rhyme schemes and things like that. And every artist has their thing, but you have to know what you deliver as an artist and what your show means. You can't just be a one-trick pony, and just it's got to be something more than just you and your song, and stop singing and rapping over y'all's vocals. Like, it is that to me is like, I get it if you're a 40-year-old rapper and you don't have your masters and you don't have your instrumentals or whatever. I get it, but you better have some real good songs if you're gonna be rapping and singing over your vocals. So back to your mashup, the mashing up Beyonce Bow Down with Let Me Be, and you literally stop in the middle of the show and do a dance break. And a whole dance break. It's a whole thing. Like, y'all know that dusty asphalt carpet up there at the camp? Like, it's on stage, love them to death, but you get the dancing on that thing, and it's dust all over the place. And you're dancing, and the crowd is going nuts because they weren't expecting that. And then it goes back into your show. Like, you literally are putting them on a roller coaster ride. Where it's, all right, his song was up here, now it's going down here, we're going to chill. And then you take them all the way up with Bow Down and the mashup and the dancing and this, that, and the other. It's like, all right, let me slow it down a little bit and let me do whatever comes in next after the show and Let Me Be. So, good job.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, picking what I put in my live performances, because, like you said, you want to take the audience on a roller coaster. You don't just want to be here the whole time. You want to have... You always start off the show hype, no matter what. You started off hype, boom. You want to kind of structure your live performances like an album. You started off super hype. You can continue that the emotion of, or just the feelings of hypeness if you want, but you can't keep it there the whole time. There's got to be a difference. So every now and, well, not every now and then, but I'll typically drop it just a little bit. And if I really feel like it, I'll give you a ballad every now and then. I'll give you my, slower songs, my little chill songs, something for you to vibe out to. And then by the end, I'm like, okay, this is my last song. So I'm going to give you something to remember, because thanks to my theater director, shout out Mr. Lewis, the GOAT. He taught me something that always stuck with me, and it's, nobody really cares about the middle of the performance or the middle of the song. They really remember the first and last note. So treat your live performances as the first and last note. You've got to really capture And if you lose them, that's okay. It's not everybody's gonna pay attention the whole time, but the most important thing is to get them in the beginning and to get them in the end, because you want to be able to hold on to that attention for as long as possible. But you get rid of all your hype songs in the middle of a set. Now what do you do?
I think also one thing that, and I want you to start thinking about incorporating this into your music, because here's the thing, like, I don't know how other parents do, but I understand why a lot of parents, and this is why I deliberately try to stay out the way, because I don't want it to become me putting my ideas in your head, or this is what I think you should do, or this is what you should do. It's like, no, I'm gonna let you know there's a cliff right there and maybe you need to stop, but it's, you have to come up with your own ideas, and you have to come up with your own approach, because that way it's coming from you and not someone else, or it becomes the parents, this is what I would do, or their failed career, or maybe they had a great career, and that's fine, but your children's career should be their career, and you guide them, but at the same time you're not trying to drive them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing, but I want you to also think about as a performer, and this is to any performer, I would tell any performer the same way I'm telling you, if you learn how to get people's emotions, if you learn how to make people laugh in your performance, that's great. And if you do it every time, that's great. So and what I mean by that is, take it back to your theater training. The moments, you do 2 shows in a day. You know that if I do this scene, it makes people laugh every time. But if you don't do it the right way, it won't make them laugh. You can say the lines and you can do the actions, but it's in how you perform it. Are they going to laugh or not? Same thing with making people cry. If you learn how to make people cry during your performance, you got them every single time. And if you can make people laugh, cry, think, be sad, reminisce, be inspired, and all these emotions within that performance, now you got something. Because, again, as a theater, me doing theater at one point in time and doing theater now, at the Blue Melody Mystery Dinner Theater. You guys can get your tickets for any of our performances. The Blue Murder, goodness gracious, the Blue Melody Mystery Dinner Theater. There are, if you figure out, you have to pay attention to the nuances, because think about it like a comedian. They can tell the same joke, if they're on tour, and this crowd, they may like fall out of their chairs laughing, this, that, and the other. But then the next time they do it, they don't quite perform it as well, and it doesn't get the same thing. But then you get the comedians that are great, in every city that joke lands, and they just fall out laughing or crying or whatever that is. And you have to figure that out, of how to get people's emotions and how to make them cry. Figure out how to make, and pay attention and look in the crowd to say, all right, when I say this is what happens. When I tell this joke, if you got a joke that a lot of people laugh at, you might need to keep telling that same joke, but tell it in the same way, switch it up a little bit, and find the nuances and the time to stop and be quiet and listen, and the space in between the notes is what matters. And I don't know who said it, but somebody really, really smart years ago said, all music is not the notes and everything that you're doing, da-da-da-da. It's the space between the notes that make music. Otherwise, it's just a long, continuous sound that just goes on forever. So you have to figure out where to put the spaces in your show, where to put the emotions, and how to command people to do that. Because if you master that, that is awesome. And if all he has a 20-minute show. So if you're doing a set for 20 minutes and all you do, and it's great, don't get me wrong, we all love to party, but if you're just doing nothing but party music for 20 minutes, unless you're Lil Jon, what are we talking about? You got to pull some emotions. You got to figure out what type of artist are you going to be. take people on that ride. It's like going to a restaurant and it's like the 5-course meal is all chicken fingers. You got baked chicken fingers, fried chicken fingers, you got boiled chicken fingers, barbecue chicken fingers, and you're like, this is 5 courses, but every damn thing's been chicken fingers. Do y'all got anything else? Versus you start out with an appetizer, and then you start out with a palate, and then you get a palate cleanser that comes in there, and then you get something else that comes out, and it's the first dish, and then the second thing comes out, and it's a little more intricate than the first thing, and then the third thing comes out, cleanses your palate, and now you're eating something from a different country, and then you get this other thing, you drink this wine or this other thing, you're like, oh my God, doesn't get any better than this, and then they come out and like, are you ready for dessert? You're like, what? Dessert? Oh my God, and it's a whole emotion. So figure that out, with your show. And when's the album coming out? So we'll land on that.
So
still working on it?
I do. We'll get there, but spring. Early spring.
How many tracks?
Early spring. 15 tracks. 15 tracks. I want you to really pay attention to the singles I've been putting out because
the first one was a dance one, wasn't it? No. Obvious was the first one.
The first single was "Let Me Be It."
It was.
I teased that on April Fools, and then technically the second single is "Obvious."
It's obvious. Why is it obvious?
Because "Don't Think Just Dance" and "Can't Stop" are not a part of the story that I'm telling in this next album. So you got single number 1, you got your filler song. You got single number 2, you got your filler song. Who's to say I can't put out another before I put out this album?
You absolutely can. It's the Wild West. You do what you want to do.
Hey.
And big shout out to Ben. You mentioned something about a top 3.
Top 3 locally. The top 3 you want to see.
Top 3 you want to see locally, or top 3 artists people should go out and listen to. Or 3, however you want to do it. You can do your top. You can do your recommended.
Okay, so let's try to do both. Because
you got to sit up on this one.
Oof. Okay, so local artists, we got Holly Grace.
Shout out to Holly.
Huntsville, Alabama. She just put out her EP, her first EP. Digging the EP, 5 tracks. Go listen to it. Second, Nettie B. She's got a project coming up, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Y'all better get on it. Nettie B, she got something.
Come on.
And wow. So I guess she's not local, but I'm gonna cheat. Third local artist, me. Go listen to me.
Of course. Of course. Like, why wouldn't you? You have to. Living Proof on all streaming platforms that you should listen to. Of course, I'm going to tell you should listen to Living Proof. He's my son. So, of course, you better listen to him. And you better say something nice. No. 3 artists I encourage you to listen to.
Number 1, Zephyrin. Dope, talented girl. She's got this nice boom bap sound. She's rapping lyrically. You'll hear me say this a lot when I get to do some more interviews, but I do not listen to hip hop or rap that isn't lyrical because I like to feel something. I like to, be able to relate. So check out Zephyrin, talented. Next, I'm definitely gonna say Tyler Lewis, bias, but dope independent R&B UK singer. She just put out her song Hella Jealous in November. She's basically famous, but you know what? Go check her out. And third, for my third artist, I'd have to say Anees.
Is that Anees with an E?
Anees. Anees. He's a kind of mixes genres. Sometimes he's R&B, sometimes he's pop, sometimes he's indie, sometimes he's a little rock influenced. He's just kind of everything. But he's a great inspirational artist that I love to listen to. Definitely got some bangers out there. So Zephyrin, Tyler Lewis, and Anees for your artists you should check out. And Holly Grace, Nettie B, and Living Proof for your local artists. because we love supporting local artists.
All right, we're going to have to get you over there at Valley Sounds and, do that. I'll close out with my three local artists you should go and listen to, and I'm going to tell you why. So, and this is no particular order. We're not doing that. You definitely should check out Billy the Kid. Check her out on Bandcamp. Check out Billy the Kid. She just dropped not just dropped. It's been out for a little bit, but it's a journey, literally, from track 1 all the way through. You're gonna find something. It's something that you need to listen. It's a whole project that you need to listen to, and not just in passing, not skipping through it. When you have some time to sit, or you're riding, or you're on a road trip, or you're cleaning up, or you got some time you're studying, put that on. Billy the Kid, Billy Pettinger. Check her out. Trans Lee. Trans Lee's Forever in Our Hearts. He just dropped that, and he is on the road to, I got to go back and buy a few copies. I bought my first one, but I'm going to buy some more because he is on a goal to sell 1,000 copies in 30 days. 1,000 copies is what he's selling, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's at 5 right now, 500. And so it is picking up. So definitely check out Trans Lee. Shout out to PR on the production. And he's got some great local. The reason why I want you to check that one out too is because you're going to discover a lot of other great local artists that he's working with on there. So you're going to hear Wade Brown. You're going to hear Gypsy Soul. You're going to hear Sammy Murray. You're going to hear a few other artists that are on this project. So it's kind of like a cheat code because I could throw a lot of those artists in there because they're already on the project. Pretty dope for that. And then my third artist I'm going to tell you need to check out is Jay Means. So he just dropped Jaytoven 2. Bars. Just rap. And I'm talking braggadocious rap, like you ain't going to out-rap me rap. That little dude's been here before. I ain't say little, he's like 7 feet tall. He is definitely a student of hip hop. I'm glad that he's here because he's keeping lyricism alive and well in Huntsville. There's always been great lyricists here. Sleep if you want to. There's always been dope lyricists here, and he is that next generation coming out of the Sound on the Hills and the open mics and the open mic HSV. Everything that they're doing over there. So shout out to that whole camp, Paperman. Shout out to just that whole camp out there, that whole movement. Very proud of what they're doing and following all of them. Gypsy Soul's got an EP on the way. My guy PR's got a rock album on the way. So it's a lot of good music out there. So y'all should check them out. And you should keep it locked on paradoxeastradio.org, where you want to discover some of your favorite local music from around the world and the top 100 hits from around the world, paradoxeast.org. And you can check me out every Saturday morning on 94.1 WHRP, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But for Living Proof, where do they follow you? Where do they listen to your music? And what is next? I'm proud of you. I'm definitely inspired because you are unapologetic, you are bold, you are living your art on your own, and proud of you. So where can people follow you at?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at LP_music2. TikTok might actually be 3, but it's definitely LP_music2. And you can find me. I'm on YouTube too. So if you look up Living Proof, you'll find me on there. What's next is just a storm. A storm.
Come on.
So
better get your umbrella.
Stay awake.
Which is also Star Trek.
Hey.
On Logic.
So just be ready, because this next project, it's going to unlock something that you never knew needed to be unlocked. So
17 years old, ladies and gentlemen, producing his own albums, his own songs, his own production, mixing, mastering, engineering, recording in closets and bedrooms and kitchens and garages.
I was actually
and
just
the
recording
car.
a new song before I got here.
You know what I mean? Like
The grind don't
he's
stop,
doing
man.
it. Shout out. We need a sound trap, like sponsorship or something.
Sponsor me,
the kid is
Soundtrap.
cooking up. Shout out to all the young people that are cooking up, the next generation. And please tag any of our younger up and coming artists. Like, we want to, I know he's not the only one. Holly Grace is not the only one. Delaney is not the only one. Delaney Falls, definitely check out Delaney. But we need to also bring up our up and coming generation, those that are coming after us. So big shout out to Big Body Music. This is Music Monday, and we out.